What's up, fellow pickle dicks and clam crunchers? It's No Chills, Newf Nukem, coming at you with another video. And yes, I know it's been long overdue. I've got my glasses on today. I don't normally wear them very often, so I'm wearing them now. Pulling off the old bug-eyed Marty Sleva look from IGN and hoping to spit a couple of topics at you over the course of the next few minutes. I hope that you'll find it entertaining. Maybe you'll subscribe to my channel. Give me the old thumbs up button if you do. I want to start out with podcasts and trolls. First of all, big kudos to those who are making podcasts, especially on a day-to-day basis. I don't know how you do it. I don't know where you find the time, but I commend you for it. Now, to all the trolls who show up in the chat rooms, like Omega Asshole or whatever your name is, you guys can bug off. You can go somewhere else. Find a tree with a hole in it and go, I'm going naughty with that. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to come in and belittle the podcasters and get on with your own crap just because you don't like what they say or what they do. As they say, if you don't like it, don't watch it. And as for those guys who actually go out and make podcasts about the podcasters, man, you guys are lame. Do you know how lame that actually looks? The fact that you're just jealous that the good podcasters out there can actually make a video. Some people even making a living at it, and you're just lame. That's all I can say. You're just lame, and it's stupid, and you guys should find something better to do with your time than belittling podcasters like Next Gen 420, Mooch 1978, The Crap Gamer. These guys do a fantastic job. They're not always right. They're not always wrong. They're opinionated, and sometimes you're damn right hilarious. But again, it's just entertainment at the end of the day, and I enjoy watching their podcasts, whatever that they're on, as well as many others who hopefully I'll touch on and mention before we get to the end of the video. So all you trolls out there, man, go get a life. Find something to do. I don't know. I guess if you're a PlayStation fan, I can understand why you've got so much time on your hands, because you sure as hell don't have a controller in them, because you just ain't got no games to play. Now, exclusive, supporting them. Actually, no, before we get to that, let's just talk about 4K. Let's talk about the new consoles, the PlayStation 4 Pro and the Scorpio. PlayStation 4 Pro running into some problems right now, and we're talking about some technical issues, things like overheating and stuff, some crazy pictures coming off the internet. I'm glad I didn't buy one, and I have no intentions of buying one simply because I've got the PlayStation 4 Slim. It does the trick. It plays the games I want to play, and it does them pretty well. I just don't see enough value in spending an extra couple $100 for a system that's already having trouble playing remasters in 4K and at a steady frame rate. So the bottom line, 4K is great if you can afford it, invest in it. If you can't, I think you're fine with the consoles you have. That's all I can really say. I've got a TV. I don't see the big kick in it all yet. Maybe I will in the future, maybe when Scorpio comes out, native 4K, that sort of stuff. But anyway, enjoy it if you got it, and if you don't, I don't know how many gamers are crying for it at the time, but I think it's something we could definitely see here in the future. Right now, I just don't see the point in investing in a PlayStation 4 Pro, but hopefully when Scorpio comes out, they get things done, they get it done right. Bottom line is it's got to have performance, it's got to live up to the hype, and it's got to come in at the right price point. I know it's going to be more expensive than the current consoles that we have. That's pretty much a given, but it has to come in at the right price point too, otherwise you might as well just go out and buy a high-end PC probably. Let's move on to exclusives and supporting them. Well, here's the deal, guys. While it's great to have new IPs, I welcome them, I recommend them. At the same time, I understand why some people don't buy them. One, there's a lack of marketing, and two, it has to be an IP that makes sense to the average user. I mean, there's no question about it. Shooters, those things are like the flavor of the month. Only they've been going for years. They're obviously really popular. It's like on this side of the pond. Japanese RPGs are not quite so popular in North America, but they're really big in Japan. You have to appeal to a certain market. You have to appeal to a certain demographic. You have to market the product right. It has to be seen as something new, something fresh. You've got to have a character that can be identifiable with gamers, and you just got to create that demand for the product. So that's by clearly conveying what the product is, how it's meant to differentiate itself, those sorts of things. And Recore is a perfect example. It's a nice little game. It's not bad by any means, but I can understand why it's not for everybody. Maybe you're not a third-person shooter kind of fan, so why would you go out and pick that up if you're not? Those sorts of things. I bought the game. I like it. Is it perfect? By no means. But Should they have promoted it a little better? Yes, but you also got to back the product up, especially when it's a first title ever. It needs to be solid. Let's go back to Sunset Overdrive. That title was amazing. It played well. It looked well. It was something different, something refreshing. It was totally fun. I'm not 100% sure why that title did not take off and sell as well as Microsoft had hoped for, but it was still a great game. Criminally overlooked. If you get a chance to play it, by all means do that. Quantum Break came out earlier this year. Another fantastic title that had great graphics, some great story, had some interesting play mechanics inside the game. I bought that one as well. So yes, we do need to support our IPs, but at the same time, you can't give everybody flack for not buying certain titles because they're just not for everybody. It doesn't appeal to a mass audience, so to speak. We know things that sell. Games like Mario and Sonic, we know that sports games generally sell because they have appeal to a large audience, both young and old. But after that, it becomes a question mark. And I understand why buying new IPs is important because it drives the industry forward. Otherwise, we'll just keep getting an onslaught of the same old rehash bullshit day in and day out, and that would make the market stagnate. I mean, how many shooters do we see come out now that are almost carbon copies of the one we had before, with the exception, you got a few decent ones, like Doom came out this year, was an absolute big surprise, kind of went old school, but had some new school, and I'm glad to see that that game did relatively well, and that people were picking it up. So support exclusives if you can, but, don't beat yourself up over it if it's just not your cup of tea either. So let's move right along. Let's talk about VR, and I won't touch on this too much. I have not tried the PlayStation VR yet. I've heard some good things. I've heard some bad things. I'll start with one of the bad things. When I see this contraption laid out from the unboxings, I'm like, oh my god, I could hang myself from the ceiling with all the freaking cords here. I'm pretty sure I'd have to redecorate my room or my entertainment console to squeeze that stuff in there. Talk about Fire Hazard 101. But it looks kind of cool. I've heard some good things about some of the experiences, but that's just it. I don't know if VR is ready. Like Phil Spencer kind of alluded to, we want to get beyond experiences. We want to make sure that they make our games meaningful, that VR lives up to the hype and to the promise that it essentially conveys. Yeah, Sony's trying to get on the market real quick, but that in turn is part of the reason why Sony hasn't had a whole lot to offer with the last while. They're putting all their eggs in the PSVR basket, and it may or may not work. It may work for the first little while, but I have a good feeling it's going to turn out like the Sony Move dildo controllers and be rendered useless after, about a year on the market, and then we'll see less and less games coming out for it, and it'll turn into being a really expensive, visor. Maybe you can wear it while you're on your motorcycle or something to keep the bugs from hitting you in the eyes. I don't know, but VR, I don't think it's quite ready yet. I think you got to have the proper hardware to support it, in essence, and the price has to be right, and it's not in a mass market price yet. Sony's doing the right thing by having it the most affordable, but even then it's not necessarily as affordable as we'd like it to be, since you got to buy a console. It's going to set you back $300 or $400. Then you got to buy the kit. That's another $500-$600. So again, it's one of those things. If you can afford it, it's like 4K. If you can afford it and you want to jump into it, by all means. But otherwise, I still think it's got some time to go. Let's talk about Nintendo. Let's talk about, first of all, the NES Mini and the shortages. I think that's a load of crap. Nintendo, what are you doing? Your fans, you need to make your fans happy, not piss people off on the first day because you didn't send enough out to stores. And don't tell me you had a manufacturing problem. We're talking about 1980s technology here, man. I mean, this stuff should come off the assembly line like snap, snap, snap. And there should be tons. There's no excuse why each and every store doesn't have at least 30 or 40 of these units ready to go on day one, not like the 5, 8, and 10 that I've heard at most retailers. I think it's horse crap, and I think it's horse crap that a lot of people were selling more than one to different people. Obviously, scalpers are a big problem with the industry too. I can't blame that on Nintendo, but you scalpers, you guys are scum. Just taking advantage of a product that people want and then going out and selling it for thousands on the internet. I think it's terrible. You're part of the problem. You're not the solution, that's for sure. And people need to stop buying it off scalpers so we have less scalpers in the meantime. So if you're going to go out and pay $1,000 for an NES Mini, you're not doing anybody any favors. You're just making more scalpers. But Nintendo, I'm really disappointed in you here. I was looking forward to getting my hands on one, but it looks like I'm going to have to wait. And I'm sure there'll be tons of them out there when nobody really wants them, right? Kind of like the Wii was. Couldn't get one the first couple of months, but about a year later, they were bundled high to the ceiling. Let's also talk about the Nintendo Switch. Boy, I really don't know where I sit on this one. I kind of like the portable aspect of it all. That's something I've been really looking forward to. Nintendo's done a great job overall with the 3DS and the portable market, but I think that's where they're going. They know there's a market there for that, and that's maybe why they're choosing to go with sort of a portable platform that also works side by side as a console in the, I guess, the base unit, that sort of thing. Um, I don't know how it's going to sell. I definitely think, based on their advertising and things, that they're trying to appeal to an older market, an older audience, because a lot of people are using tablet-based devices, so it's going to seem very familiar to them. And you know they're going to bring out a lot of great franchises. We know that the Zelda's looking pretty good at this point in time, and that should be a launch title. What comes down the pipe after that? Well, Mario Kart's a given; it'll probably sell well. I just don't know where the longevity stands in this product. And again, while all the third-party support seems to be coming in and raving about it now, where are they going to be in 2 or 3 years from now? Are we going to have another Wii U, or is this thing going to be awesome? Obviously, I don't think Nintendo is trying to take over the market or get back to number one. I think they've sort of accepted the fact now that they're sort of the alternative console in people's homes. But I'd like to see them do a lot of different things right. The graphics hardware is anyone's guess. If it's going to run Tegra, it's definitely not on par with the current home consoles that we have. And I'm sure it'll look a lot better than 3DS stuff. I don't know. It's one of those wait and see devices, and people ask me, "Hey, you're going to pick one up? What do you think of it?" That's all I can say. I got to wait and see how this goes, and perhaps we'll pick one up eventually. So far, the estimated price that we're sort of hearing rumbling in from, I think, Toys R Us here in Canada has it listed at about $330 Canadian, which is not bad, not bad. But it depends on what the bundle comes with. So we'll just have to wait and see. Looks like Nintendo's trying to switch it up, but will they succeed? Anybody's guess. I guess we'll just figure out in due time. Let's talk about Game of the Year. I often get that question asked to me recently. Newf, what have you been playing? What's your Game of the Year so far? Well, let's start with the PlayStation 4. Now, I haven't played a lot of titles, so this is going to be kind of just based on what I've played so far, but I'm going to have to say, yes, Uncharted 4, did it live up to the hype? Yes and no. In many ways it did. I thought graphically it looked great. It played really well. The multiplayer is the best in the series, in my opinion, because I didn't like number 3 at all. And it was a fun game. It had a fairly lengthy campaign. It looked pretty good. It had lots of diversity in it. It was a lot of fun. With saying that, one thing I've never understood about Uncharted, and you guys might get a kick out of this, don't you find it funny how Nathan Drake, he has to go in all these locations, and he has to follow all of these clues, and to find out ultimately where the treasure is or where he's going to end up at the end of the game, but yet the enemies don't have half of the stuff that Nathan Drake has, but they always seem to beat him to the location, so I always find that kind of interesting, kind of funny. But anyway, this would be my pick for the PlayStation 4 so far this year. Great game, highly recommend it. Most people buying a PlayStation bundle now will probably pick this up and have it with it, so that is kind of cool. As for the Xbox One, I'm going to have to go with Gears of War 4. It was the most entertaining campaign and experience I've had in quite a while. I mean, I bought an Xbox originally for the Gears of War franchise going back to the 360. This game, it was a stellar effort from the Coalition, and putting such a magnificent game out there in such a short period of time, I mean 2.5 years, 3 years tops or something, and on top of that, also making the Gears of War original, the Ultimate Edition, in that time frame is just staggering. But anyway, this would be my pick for Game of the Year. It may be my Game of the Year overall so far, but definitely my Game of the Year for the Xbox One. Lots of top contenders out there in that category, but I really enjoyed that game. So pick these up if you're a fan of third-person shooters and you have one or both consoles. Highly recommend it. And I guess lastly, let's just end off the podcast here. I want to say, guys, if you get a chance, as I mentioned at the top of the show, I got into this because I'm a fan of a lot of the podcasts that I see out there on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. A lot of great podcasters out there, very entertaining stuff. So if you do get a chance, though, one of my personal favorite podcasts for a variety of reasons is the Console Corner. You can check it out on Tuesday nights. It features the Governor, Mr. GKB. He is the master of disaster, and he keeps everybody on track. And then we have the talented and amazing She-Wolf, the always opinionated She-Wolf. And if you step off the track sheet. We'll put you right back on there. We've got the adorable and awesome ass-kicking multiplayer expert, Lady Foxfire. We've got the fantastic, charismatic, and always off the wall, brutal Knight. Yes, you cannot game without a beer in hand, I'm pretty sure. And apparently some other guy on the podcast too who has no chills apparently. So check it out, Tuesday nights, Console Corner. And as I'm ending this off, I do want to give out some shout outs to a variety of gamers who I've played games with, who I've talked with, who I've been on podcasts with, and who have influenced me to sort of take up the mantle as well. Great gamers, great community members, great podcasters. Here's just a few. I know I'm going to miss some, so I do apologize in advance, but I want to give a shout out to these people and some of my supporters. That's people like Bam Bam 86, Xbox 448, PTK Blam, Next Gen 420, Mooch 1978, The Crap Gamer, Jamie Moran, Livewires, PTK Blam, Too Much Food, Xbox Assassin, Alan Roberts, Gaming Forever 4K, Lady Infamous 30, Beastfire, Team Dog, Randall Thor, Dark Otimus, Dryer Smith, K Mega 405, Timidos, Weckless, Remix Essence, The Dawn, KTR, Girls Can Game 22, or Mel, as we often know her as, Chicken Spaghetti, Tommy Guns, and as I said to anyone I missed, my apologies, but I want to thank you all so much for encouraging me to do my own videos, and like I said, man, rate, comment, subscribe. I hope to come back with some more soon. This was kind of a smorgasbord of a lot of things that I'm going on for a while, and I haven't done a video in a few months now, and I hope to bring back some more spit bits as well. That is coming. So anyway, peace out. Hope to see you online. Don't forget about community game nights on Saturday. You can catch up with me often, as well as members of the Console Corner and many, many more as we have some fun. Keep it real. Keep it gaming. Have some fun. It's No Chills out.